everyone. Welcome to Midweek. This week's week 10. Man, and I don't know, the setup Sean has done this week is so cool. It reminds me of like the radio show. This is WJESUS here, broadcasting live at Salem First Baptist Church. Enough of that. I've never been good on the radio. Hey, moms, again, belated, but we're going to do it again. Happy Mother's Day. I hope you are enjoying your gift at North Block. And by the way, from experience, the burritos are really good. And the egg bites, for those of you who are doing no carb, they are made just for you. So hope you come and enjoy, moms. It's going to be great. Get your present there and gift to us from us. Speaking of moms, we have a great one. I hope you watched this weekend, all of the kids. And I've got to ask you, how did you get your kids to say the things that they did? When I was listening to them, they said things like, she is the cutest and she is the most beautiful. And then I was thinking, I think Josh wrote that. How did they? I mean, it was one of the best things. I loved that. Your kids think you're the most beautiful thing in the world. Did Josh write that?
He did not write that. I think Corona beautiful is a different sort of beautiful. So whenever I put on anything besides pajamas, they now think I'm pretty. So the other day, I ran to the store in a sweatshirt, and they thought I looked beautiful. So I think it's just a little bit different standards these days.
You know, it's funny because people never have considered me beautiful. But people are staring at me. People I know.
Yeah, it's the Corona pretty.
No, it's the hair. I am growing a flock of hair. And so what I'm telling people is I've just taken the Nazarite vow. I'm not cutting my hair anymore. I'm going to look like Jerry Garcia here in a couple of weeks.
Can't wait.
I know. It's and this is raging, is it not?
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. No, it's not. Actually, what it is, it's gray. And my children have said, Dad, you have aged in this process. I didn't appreciate that. So your kids say you're beautiful. My kids say, Dad, you're looking old. So congratulations.
They win.
But they say different things to fathers than they do to moms.
They do.
Hey, Steph, you have, you've done such a good job leading our kids over the years. And one of the things, this has always been a highlight for our church and for our city, is Skills Camp. Like a lot of things these days, we're having to lament some things. Bring us up to speed about the decision about Skills Camp.
Yeah, so some of you have heard already, but we made the decision to go ahead and cancel Skills Camp for this year. And it was a really difficult decision. I waited as long as I could to make it because I think there's something about having hope that some of our plans will stay intact. But it was the right decision to think that a group of 600 plus could meet in just a couple of months is just not realistic. And even if we were able to meet, just thinking about some of our volunteers who are older and would be compromised and people who aren't working but will need to work when they finally can, it's just the right decision for this year, but it's a hard one.
Yeah, and I appreciate how hard it was for you and how long you waited, but it's the right decision. But when this whole thing started, we had no idea, and we still don't, what it's going to fully look like. But one of the things I remember we were praying as a staff was, God, give us, number one, a positive attitude. Number two, I very specifically remember, God, give us the ability to be creative, to think of things that we've never done. God's answered that prayer. So, no, we're not going to do Skills Camp, but God laid on your heart something else. Tell us about that. What is it?
So this year we're going to do something called Focus Virtual VBS. And the company that we decided to use, Orange, that we're using on Sunday morning, is just really working hard to partner with churches and with families and is offering a virtual VBS. And so they've obviously never done it before. We've never done anything like this before, but I'm really excited about the opportunities it'll give us to meet the needs of our families and kids and also reach, hopefully, new kids. I think it's got a lot of outreach potential that I'm really excited about.
In the past, in Skills Camp, you would have somewhere like 200 volunteers.
Yes.
So those 200 volunteers are still out there. And they're like, well, I want to partner. I still want to invest in kids. And we have no idea how many are going to do this, but your vision is large. So those 200 volunteers and maybe some more, if you were to say to them, we still need you. It's not going to be skills camp, but we need partners. Mm-hmm. What are some of the ways? Do you have an Amazon wish list?
Yeah.
And I've placed some things for my personal benefit on there. No, just kidding. Tell us about how we can partner with you in this virtual VBS.
So there's 3 ways. The first would be the Amazon wish list that you mentioned. So I've already added. So what kids are going to get is when parents register their child, they're signing up and they're going to receive a box, and that box will have enough stuff for the entire week of VBS. There's let me back up a second. There's a couple different ways that the virtual VBS will run. We're going to do it once a week on Mondays. They can watch the stream, and there'll also be a craft STEM project component and then live small groups via Zoom. So that would be every Monday. If a family wants to instead, they could invite kids from the neighborhood and do it all in one week if they feel like that's a better fit. And they'd get that same experience, but what they wouldn't get is the live small group, but they'd have each other, and so the parents could run the small group that way. And I would give them all the tools to do that with a small group in their own home. And I think that's where we could see a lot of outreach potential, and that's what I'm excited about. So these kids are each going to get a box that's made just for them, and inside are all the materials they'll need so that it's super easy on families for some really cool crafts and object lessons that reinforce the lesson for that day. And so I've created an Amazon wish list with everything we need for 250 kids. That's our prayer goal, is 250 to do this, so they'll each get a box. So parents do register and pay a small amount, but we need some just additional resources to make these boxes awesome. So all the items are online. If you go to our Amazon wish list, which you can find via our website or Facebook, you just would click on an item, purchase it, and it'll get sent directly to the church. So that's the first way. The second, of course, would just be praying that this new format, that parents would enjoy it, kids would enjoy it, that they would grow in their relationship with God through it, and that there would be outreach and just new kids brought to the Lord. I think it's a crazy format, but I think God's a big God, and he can work through virtual VBS just as well as he can through Skills Camp or anything else. And then third, if you're used to working with our kids, I would love some volunteers to be our small group leaders via Zoom so that kids are getting to see familiar faces again. I think they would love that. So that's a third way. If you think that sounds fun, I'd give you everything you need to be successful and do that. And I know kids would love seeing the familiar faces and teachers that they're used to.
That is so good. There's a book, if you haven't read it, it's called Grit. And you have grit. It was a big disappointment to not do Skills Camp, but you didn't quit. You didn't, go attitude in the dumpster. You have great grit, so thank you very much. Thanks. I can't wait. Steph, you've been working with families a lot in the last 12 weeks in a unique way. What are some of the things you're seeing? I'm sure there's some families that are doing very well. We also have some families, I've talked with some, where their income levels have dropped significantly. What are you seeing? Not only that we can rejoice, but also that we can pray for. What are you hearing? What are you seeing in families? I
think every family, whether they're largely feeling successful during this time or not, every family's having good days and bad days. And you kind of don't know when they're going to come, and it can catch you off guard. That's what it's feeling like. There'll be days when kids' school goes well and they play well, and then there's other days where it seems like all they're doing is fighting, and you can't imagine not being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, which we can't right now, and so that can get hard. There's days where you feel hopeful and you feel the connection of that community, and then there's other days where you experience another loss of an event. And so I think it's just, not a roller coaster, but it's just there's ups and downs with every family. Like no family is thriving 100% of the time. But I have seen a lot of resilience and a lot of good things. Our family started just a positivity board where we write down anything fun that we like about this time. So every little blessing that we've seen God give us, whether it's more time to play games or the ability to sleep in, all those kind of things. So I think just the ability to intentionally see the blessings, those tiny little blessings, and recognize them as gifts from God has been good.
You're doing a great job. Thank you. This is challenging, and you are doing a phenomenal job. Well, let me close with just a couple of things. Number one, are we thinking about gathering again? Of course, absolutely. We're putting a relaunch team together. We're going to be meeting. Candidly, I think it's going to be a challenge, a great challenge. We're going to overcome it. We're going to do it. But we're going to work within the guidelines. There's some things that, we're preparing. We're going to take advantage of every opportunity that is given to us. And so we are putting the relaunch team together. A friend of mine is relaunching their church in Arizona. I listened to his video cast kind of preparing people, and I was exhausted by the 5 minutes by the time it was over. I think it'll actually be hard in some ways, delightful that we get to be together. But I also realize that even within our church, there are people who wear masks every day. There are other people who, if the store requires masks, won't go in it. One of these days, we're all going to land in the same place again, and we're going to realize we're the church. And so we're thinking about that. We're thinking about all the things that we'll have to face. And so we'll keep you posted on that. And we are going to start moving forward with certain meetings. Why? Because as of the 15th, you can have 25 people. So a couple of things that you can be aware of. Number one, the office has always been open, but pastoral staff is coming back and doing most of their office hours here rather than at home. It means that there will be face-to-face appointments. I've started those about 2 weeks ago. I see people, and candidly, some of them are struggling with some deep things. But I am seeing appointments, and so the office is open. Pastoral staff is coming back down, so you can be aware of that. And next weekend, we have Matters of the Heart again. So we're looking forward to things that we need to forget. And it's not your keys, and it's not your children's names, but things that we need to learn to forget. So I can't wait to be together. We are, again, preparing for relaunch. Can I give you a date? No. There are some things I'd encourage you to pray for. Yes, you've probably become aware of there is a lawsuit that is being brought against the governor from the business community and some of the religious community. It's not about trying to overthrow. It's simply about trying to move forward and, again, gather responsibly. I realize when you talk about regathering or gathering together, people have all kinds of different expectations. One of the things you'll realize is that none of us are perfect, but I believe in the heart of this team, your deacons and those who are on this team. So we're preparing for you, thinking about you, and praying for you. Steph, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
I look forward to virtual camp. I'm going to be joining, I think it's on the 22nd, with Fusion. They're having a night, it's a game, kind of a trivia night.
Game on.
I cannot wait. I can only tell you, I will not beat Alan Patterson. He's a genius. I'm hoping that they have some trivia of some old Christian rockers. I will win that one. I think Alan will beat me on that one too. God bless you all. We love you. Can't wait to see you soon. Drop by. We'll see you soon.